Hi, it's Maggie. Excuse me. It's Maggie, the Irish Gypsy, here to bring you your November 2018 general reading. Thank you for joining us here today and welcome to any newcomers. Thank you, as always, for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and your support, feedback, and comments. For those of you who continue to follow my YouTube channel, to all of my clients out there, regular and new, for continuing to reach out and keeping me so very busy with personal one-on-one readings. It's an honor and a pleasure always. I always say that and I always mean it. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Thank you. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you've never read with me before, or you've forgotten the information, you can get more info and my contact details by going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on that little About button. Or you can click on the description bar of any of the videos I post. I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, and turnaround time is pretty fast as I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do, so I work pretty diligently with your schedules to try and get you a reading or do a reading with you as quickly as possible, and I can usually respond to you within the first 24 hours of your initial inquiry. So if you're interested, please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. You can find all that info by clicking either of those two places I mentioned. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy. That link is also provided. That's for quick, fast answers to the fast, easy questions. But for the traditional ones or more complex readings, send me an email and we'll go from there. All right, let's move right into this reading. This is for the earth sign of Taurus, our beautiful bulls, for the month of November 2018. Let's see what's in store for Taurus. If you know your rising and moon sign, check out those videos as well. They can provide additional clarification. General readings can always resonate a little differently for everybody watching because there's so many of you watching. Okay, Taurus. We begin with the Five of Pentacles, followed by the Knight of Swords, the Ten of Cups, followed by the Eight of Pentacles. We have the Six of Swords, followed by Temperance, and we have the Four of Pentacles, followed by Judgment. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance for the month of November 2018 is the Emperor. Sorry, Taurus. Sorry for the long pause. I was just kind of sorting through what I was getting. Very strong kind of overall theme for you this month of holding on, holding fast, holding the line. Your overall, your crowning card from the bottom of the deck representing overall energy. My hair feels like it's just flying all over today. Representing overall energy and guidance for the month is the Emperor. And I feel like this is not just your overall general energy, which is a good energy for a Taurus to have, but it's also advice, guidance from Spirit, asking you to manifest the energy of the Emperor for the month of November 2018. Now, the Emperor is a pretty big guy or woman. He's got a big job to run. He has an entire empire to run because he's the Emperor. Bigger than kings and queens. They have a kingdom to run. He has a collection of kingdoms, a whole empire to run. So that requires staying on top of lots of details. And you may feel like you are the Emperor in your life. The Emperor has, lives in a world where everything has to kind of flow together and run on time so that there isn't chaos, which requires overseeing many different things. So it's about staying grounded, staying structured, staying disciplined, paying attention to detail, considering the greater good of everyone involved with every decision he makes, because that's one of the things that the Emperor does. He has an entire empire to run, and all of his decisions affect everyone in his empire, and he's conscious of that. So he's very thoughtful and contemplative in all the decisions he makes, and he makes them for the what's best for the greater good for everybody kind of involved. So he's kind of the ultimate patriarch of the tarot. So that's the energy: stability, structure, routine, paying attention to the details, being that steady kind of rock, the Emperor. and particularly in maybe taking care of everyone or everything that's kind of underneath him, which requires a steady, balanced, patient, practical, and pragmatic view of things. So we find ourselves around the beginning of November. I am recording these in the last few days of October. Timing, as I always say, is somewhat fluid and never more so than in a general reading because there's so many of you watching, so it might be a little earlier for some and a little later for others. The details and specifics of what area of your life this is might vary as well, but the fundamental energy and advice remains the same. So we begin with the Five of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. So the Five of Pentacles, earth energy here, often about manifesting things in the tangible, earthly, concrete area of our life, can represent money, finance, property, assets, resources, etc. Things we can see, touch, and feel. Or, the results of our efforts in other areas of our life. So the Five of Pentacles is a card of insufficiency and lack. And numerically in the tarot, fives can represent conflict, disruptions, but it can also, but the five therefore also represents opportunities for change and growth as well. So the Five of Pentacles, it's a card of insufficiency and lack. Now in money or finances or job, this could represent not having enough money, being out of work, having to rob Peter to pay Paul kind of stuff. Feeling like financially you might be under some difficulty of some kind. In the emotional or relationship area of your life, or in the family area of your life, it can represent, again, it's a sense of insufficiency and lack, and can represent feeling maybe not good enough or not measuring up enough, feeling abandoned, rejected, shut out, kind of being on the outside as well. But it can often represent missing something too that could be helpful or needed. That's right in your environment, if not right in front of you, because you're only focused on the negative as well. You can see this couple, they're standing outside of the door of this, what appears to be a cathedral or a church, and they're in need. In other tarot decks, they're sometimes depicted as being outside in the rain or the snow. They look homeless or in need somehow. And the light which is shining out is representative of what they need, which could be help, resources, or some insight of some kind. But they're not, and so it can represent, not taking a second look at something which is very close to you, which could be helpful, if not essential. Not bothering to take a second look at an offer or a person, or just not seeing it because you're focused on, the lack in your life. So it can represent that as well. Now, what's that about? It's clarified. Of course, during the reading, the gardener would be coming by using his blower. Or whatever that is out there. Hopefully it's not interfering too much. So the Five of Pentacles is clarified by the Knight of Swords. So knights usually represent offers or opportunities coming in. The knights are the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. When you think about what their role was in medieval times, knights were usually there to protect, to defend, to go off on missions and quests and bring back the results of that. Very single-minded, very focused. So they can also represent the speed at which a situation moves. So this is the Knight of Swords. Swords is air energy. This is cerebral energy. It's all about what goes on up in our heads, our belief systems, outlook, perspectives, because that directly affects the way that we see the world, people, relate, and communicate as well. Truth, education, higher insight, higher education, illumination as well. Anything that has to do with what goes on up here. So the Knight of Swords is bringing information or news of some kind. It can sometimes be like the inconvenient truth card, or delivering information, that's not emotional in nature. It's just the facts. Sometimes it can be a truth that might be difficult to see, or news that might be difficult to see. It might not be. It's just news or information. So clarifying the Five of Pentacles, some of you may have gotten news or information or found out something recently that has led to this feeling of insufficiency and lack in terms of the financial or business part of your life, or the concrete part of your life. You may have, been downsized, or lost your job, or somebody else in the household may have lost their job, or You may have been hit, maybe with a bill or something of that sort. In terms of, an emotional or relationship area of your life, if it's like something more personal, again, you could have gotten something. It feels like, Taurus, that you're feeling somehow that you're working very hard at taking care of yourself, taking care of whatever your home and family is, that you're working very hard at taking care of the people that you love, perhaps, or just your general environment, working very hard towards, a happy life, whatever that might mean to you. There is a strong kind of theme of home and family here. Um, but somehow there's a sense that it feels maybe more in the first half of the month and the second half of the month, or more in the beginning of the month. It feels like maybe you feel like you're not doing enough, or it's not enough somehow. Um, because next to that, we have the Ten of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. So the Ten of Cups is, tends represent cycles ending or completion energy, or things kind of coming together. Finally, where there isn't anything more to work on to achieve in that area. So the Ten of Cups is got a strong connection to home and family and children, marriage, blessings often. Cups is water energy, and in the tarot, that's the energy of the heart, emotions, feelings. It's also the area of our life that deals with relationships. So the Ten of Cups represents kind of a fulfillment in that area of your life, representing that you're kind of at that place where you feel everything's kind of come together. Everything's finally coming together in a way that you've always dreamed of, particularly in relation to home and family. This card can represent marriage, children, family, blessings, home harmony. It's often referred to as the happy home card or the happily ever after card. Now, it's clarified by the Eight of Pentacles, which I always call the worker bee card. It's a card about working very hard, working a lot even, or perhaps working even overtime, staying up late, getting up early, burning the candle at both ends, because you're working towards something. You have a vision, a goal, something that you're working to build up a good, solid, stable foundation for yourself, even if it's somewhat repetitive work, paying attention to detail and being conscientious about it. So it looks like you're working very hard. Some of you, it might be, just working very hard on your home, on your family. It could be the actual home property itself, working hard, for the contentment and joy of your family. But then there's this sense of maybe it not being enough, or feeling, at least for a time, like it's not enough. Or if you're, manifesting the energy of the Emperor, it just may be one of those time periods, and we all go through them in life, where, it feels like you have a lot of cares or burdens, whether it's what's just going on in your own personal life or with other people that you care about. It may feel like you've, literally got the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you're just working very hard, but somehow for at least this short period, it may feel like it's not enough. And there may be an actual concrete loss of some kind around the end of October, beginning of November. Again, somebody losing their job, or a chunk of money, or something of that sort. On an emotional nature, it could represent, maybe your partner feeling like, that, I don't know, for some reason, maybe you're not working hard enough, or something of that kind. But there is this kind of sense of healing. You are moving away from a time period. And for some of you, whatever the source of this Five of Pentacles and Knight of Swords energy is, could have been something that happened in the recent past, and you're slowly but surely kind of transitioning out of that, because it does look like you're working very, very hard and being structured and responsible and reliable and all of that, which is it's a character trait inherent to earth signs, particularly Taurus. So next to that, about the middle to the third week or so, we have the Six of Swords and Temperance. I like this energy. The Six of Swords is a card of peace, healing, restoration. It's a card of moving from a troubled, turbulent, challenging, or even painful time, and moving into a better time. It's a card of healing. The water behind this boat, if you could see it, would be very turbulent, choppy, and wavy. But the water that she's sailing into, or he, particularly in mentality, because swords can represent thoughts, it's calm. There's more calmness, stability, serene harmonious energy here. It's transitional, meaning she's left the worst behind her. She's not quite to the other shore and on solid ground yet, but definitely moving towards that. So healing, moving into a better place, a more stable and peaceful place. Now it's accompanied by temperance, which is about balance. Temperance is the perfect expression of balance. In a mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological way, this represents kind of being grounded in who you are, knowing who you are, even if you're having a hard time, even if you had a hard time, you're pulling through that, you're staying balanced. This is about being in the middle, holding opposite extremes in unison and harmony. Patience. It's like being in the middle of a seesaw or a teeter-totter. When you're in the middle, you're grounded. You know who you are, you know where you're going, you know what you're about, regardless of what is happening or being challenged. You know all of this. You're grounded. You're in the center. When you're not, it's kind of like being on the outside end of a seesaw or teeter-totter, and then you're at the mercy of external things, which could be your own self-doubt, other people's opinions, circumstances beyond your control that happen. And it's very easy to lose your balance going up and down that way than when you're grounded and in the middle. So it looks like you're definitely moving out of whatever was a difficult time period for you, an unstable or even, period of insufficiency or lack in your life, whether it's in an actual financial material sense or in an emotional sense, and you're definitely healing. And you and your family and home too, for those of you that applies to as well. Now at or towards the end of the month, we have the Four of Pentacles and Judgment. The Four of Pentacles is about holding on to what you have. Sometimes it can represent holding on a little too tightly, so always cautionary advice about that, because sometimes this card comes up when somebody's lost a lot in the past or has had a lot taken away from them, and so they cling very tightly to what they have, too tightly, because they're afraid of losing. Or they're very closed off or guarded because they're afraid of losing because they have in the past, so they're very closed off and guarded. But it also can represent a point of stability too, force can stability or stagnation. In money, particularly this is about financial and material aspects, it represents being very cautious and economical during the month of November 2018. No emotional or impulsive spending here, being very careful about money and saving as well. And it's accompanied by Judgment, which is a card about, it usually comes up when somebody has a choice or a decision to make. And an important one, even if it seems like a small decision. Judgment has an air of finality about it, meaning it says, whatever you choose, whatever you decide, whatever you set into motion, you're not going to be able to reverse it. So it's going to have long-lasting consequences and outcome for good or for negative. So choose carefully and choose wisely. And just this combination of cards with financial and monetary things that represents to save, maybe save against a rainy day, especially if you've been through a bad rainy time and you didn't have savings for it, to save against a rainy day, unexpected things happening, to start putting money away towards savings, being very careful about where you invest your money, or to invest your money wisely as well. But I get this sense of holding on, that you're working very hard, Taurus. You may have gone through or still be going through the tail end of a difficult time period, but you are working hard. You are moving, whether you realize it or not. You're moving into a better place. You're moving towards a better place. You're not quite there yet, but you're moving towards it. And hold on. With finances and actual physical monetary things, be careful, be cautious. Put away everything that you can, invest wisely. And again, this general feeling that I get for the reading, Taurus, is to hold on. Things are getting better, and they are going to continue to get better. So Taurus, that pretty much wraps up your November 2018 general reading. I hope that you enjoyed it or found it helpful. Again, if any of you are interested in any more personal reading, just go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on that little About button, or click on the description bar of any of the videos I post. Please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I do love and romance readings, of course, relationship compatibility charting, reconciliation potential, career, work, and finance, as well as investment readings. And I do 6 and 12-month overviews, which are pretty popular towards the last part of the year, although you can do them any time of the year. But they look at what's coming in your life in all the main areas over the next 6 and 12 months. A lot of people like to order those towards the end of the year in preparation for the new year. And gift readings as well are also usually popular during the holiday season as gifts for friends and family and loved ones. I also do channeled messages from passed on loved ones, as long as there was a strong connection with a loved one. So Taurus, I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the November 2018 mid-month readings. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.